If posting content makes you hesitate, it's not because you're lazy or because you're introverted or because you're insecure. It's because you're dangerously aware of how much a bad message can cost you. Now, let me tell you an uncomfortable truth that most creators won't tell you. And it's that confident amateurs can post easily, all the time, daily, without any issues, but serious experts often don't. Because being misunderstood isn't harmless. It dilutes your authority, it cheapens your positioning, and it quietly lowers how much people are willing to pay you. So that's why the usual advice of just be yourself, bro, or just post more, bro, usually isn't productive for ambitious people who have this block, because it trains you to leak credibility while just calling it confidence. So the way that I overcame this was by realizing that this isn't a content problem. It's a communication under pressure problem. So in this video, I'm going to break down why high-level entrepreneurs and creators struggle with this block and give you practical action steps to fix it and overcome it so that you can actually start posting without needing to dread it every single time that you do. So for me to illustrate this point, I need to say something about myself that's going to make me seem very unrelatable, but I don't care. And it's that I actually enjoy public speaking. Now, to some that's going to make me seem crazy, like a masochist, but I genuinely do. I love the feeling that I get when I'm about to go on stage and I feel a little bit nervous, and then I do it anyway. And I get up on stage and I'm speaking to a big audience of people and I see their reactions. And I use those reactions to inform my delivery, because when I see them react positively, then I change up my delivery to be more like the thing that they react positively to, and then it becomes a positive feedback loop, because then I see them reacting positively, and then I feel more confident, and me feeling more confident makes them feel more engaged, and then it just keeps going back and forth, and it feels great. It's a great feeling. But the thing is, with recording a video, it's not the same. By any means, it is not the same, because you're just speaking to a big block of metal with the glass lens in the middle. And what makes that so difficult is that you don't have that visual feedback to go off of. That's what makes it feel so unnatural, especially when you're just starting out. There's no person there, there's nothing to connect with. So the thing is, every single person who's ever recorded content has gone through this. The thing is, some of them can do it so comfortably and post without issue, and other people don't. And what makes this problem 1,000 times more pronounced for ambitious people, for entrepreneurs and high performers and creators, what makes this so difficult is that you're focusing on yourself. So let me explain. So because you have all of these beliefs in your head about your reputation, about the message that you're trying to send, that are very productive to have, they're good thoughts. The thing is, it makes you focus on yourself too much, and that makes you show up worse than if you didn't. So if you've ever tried other tricks or tactics that you can use to improve how you sound on camera and making content and making it easier, some of them might have worked, but others probably won't. And they might not have worked for you, because it's only focusing on the external aspects of your speech. So the external aspects of your speech are going to be the actual technical speaking tactics that you use, the body language, your delivery, all those different things. And the internal aspects of your speech are the thinking patterns and the frameworks that you use to inform your speech and make it clear, concise, and actually something that connects with the audience. So all of that advice is all external. And what that's doing is that it's opening the door for your internal speech to just be filled with you thinking, oh man, I need to look authoritative, or I need to look confident, or I need to look like I know what I'm talking about. And when you have this going on in your head, what does it make you? It makes you have this one quality that makes your communication 1,000 times less effective, no matter how much value that you're giving. And if you leak this, it makes it so unengaging and repelling. And that's neediness. Now, how does focusing on yourself come off as needy? Because, well, you're focusing on yourself. How could that be needy? The thing is, you're not focusing on yourself because you just really like looking good. You focus on yourself because you care so much about the other people and how they view you, and then what you can get from that person if they view you highly. For example, if you're recording a video and you're focusing on yourself all the time, you're going to be thinking, at least at a subconscious level, sometimes even conscious too, I really hope that I sound authoritative so that this person buys from me, or so that this person continues to watch, and so that this person follows me and gives me status by doing that. And when you're consciously or unconsciously trying to get something from the other person, that's what makes you come off in this repelling way. You see, the way that I learned this was actually outside of the context of business and content. It was actually through me joining a singing group when I first started college. And the way that I learned this was I had my first concert. And at that time, I was so focused on myself, how I looked, how I sounded. I wanted to look as cool as possible so that I could set myself up for the next 4 years as the cool guy who could sing really, really well and had a lot of cool stage presence. The thing is, when I went up on stage for the first time, it didn't work because I was so focused on myself that put me in my head. And it made me less effective to the people that I was performing for. So I would get up there and I was shaking, I was nervous because I had to live up to this expectation of myself in my head that I had to look cool, or look great, or look talented. And it made it so that I didn't even realize that at multiple times throughout the performance, my microphone was either off or it was too far from my mouth for people to even hear me. And it made the performance 1,000 times worse than if I had just focused on the audience. If I made eye contact with people in the audience, engaged with them, had a good time, enjoyed myself, and focused on just giving them the best show, because the audience, they don't care about you. They care about the value that they're getting. So in that specific scenario, they just cared about having a good time. So if I focused on giving them a good time, I would have, one, sounded better, but two, I also would have looked better and looked cooler, I guess, since I wanted to. But that's what made it so much less effective. So the shift that you need to have internally is that you need to focus not on yourself, but on the other person who you're helping through the video. When you shift the focus away from yourself and onto the other person, it makes you a way better communicator, because communication is never about communicating to yourself, it's about communicating to the other person. And this is something that will help you not just in content, but even in your overall life as a whole. Anytime that you have to communicate to someone, if you're focused on them, you'll be 1,000 times more confident than you otherwise would be. So, how can you apply this practically into your speech? So this is going to be some tactics that you can implement into your external speech today to make yourself 1,000 times more confident and 1,000 times more capable of making content, no matter your experience level with recording. Of course, it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to speaking to a camera, but using these tips will make it 1,000 times faster. And the first one is, like we talked about before, about how you need to focus on the other person that you're speaking to, is that you need to imagine your ICP on the other end of the camera. Imagine your ideal viewer, your ideal client on the other end of the camera. So you can think of a specific person, or you can just think of a general range of people and then try and personify that when you're speaking to it. Because again, speaking to a big hunk of metal isn't really going to be very helpful. For me, even one thing that works too is speaking to my younger self, who didn't know all of the skills and tactics and experiences that I learned over the years. So what this does for you is it makes your communication clear, because you start to use your speaking tactics in a way that isn't focused on making yourself look good. It's focused on better illustrating your message to the person that you're speaking to. Even naturally, by doing this, you start to automatically and unconsciously start to shift your speaking to speak in a way that matches the person that you're speaking to. And the way you can make this even more effective is to do this consciously, is to tailor your speech to your INCP's speaking style and what they understand the most. So if you don't understand who you're speaking to, do a little bit of homework, write it down, go and look through who you've spoken to, who you've worked with in the past, ask them questions if you need to, or you can just go off of what you've already established with them. When you do this, it makes it a lot easier for you to build rapport, even through a camera. Because one of the best ways to build rapport when you're in person speaking to someone is to quite literally speak their language, is to mirror them. So you mirror their body language, and then you also mirror their way of speaking. You mirror their speech patterns, the words that they use sometimes. You also mirror their pitch, their volume, all of those different things. And when you do that, it makes it a lot easier to build rapport because the person that you're speaking to can see that you're like them. You are like that person, and we like people who are like us. And it makes us a lot more receptive to that message. So, when you're doing this in a video, if you're imagining the other person that is the most likely person to benefit from your message, and you're speaking in the way that they would speak or the way that they would understand, then it makes your message 1,000 times clearer because you're speaking to a real physical person, even though it's just a big block of metal with a lens on the other end. And so essentially what you're doing here is mirroring through the screen. What kind of body language movements would the person that you're speaking to do? What kind of speaking style do they like? Do they like a more authoritative, action-oriented way of speaking? Or do they like a more logic-oriented, data-focused way of speaking? Whatever it is, speak their language. Focus on them. Focus on how best you can give the message to them. And it won't matter how authoritative you sound because you automatically will sound authoritative. You would have built the rapport. Now, if you still feel anxious about these situations, ask yourself, how important is your message? Because I'm assuming if you're running a business or you're doing some kind of educational content, you're helping people. So I'm assuming that that's probably pretty important to do. So when you think about it like this, you're helping people, you're giving to people, you're helping and doing something that gives value to that person. You can then ask yourself, will you let the fear of posting get in the way of that? Will it get in the way of you giving value, of you delivering information to the person that genuinely needs it? Because when you think about it like that, it makes it so that you can look at the fear and go like, okay, this actually isn't very rational. I'm helping this person, so it doesn't matter if my reputation takes a small hit because I'm not used to speaking on camera. And the funny part about that is when you think like this, even if you come off a little bit weird on camera because you're not used to it, it's a little bit awkward, you're still getting used to it, your reputation will still actually be helped by this, not hurt. One, because people aren't focusing on it, they're focusing on the value and how you deliver the value. But two, well, this is three, but you also actually improve over time. And when people see that improvement, they also respect it more. And that also helps your reputation too. That's a bit of a lesser aspect, but it does play a role. Now, if you're still concerned about the quality of the message, how helpful it is, how effective it is, making sure that you're not misunderstood so that that doesn't hurt your reputation. One of the things that I did to overcome this was actually using a trick that I use in my public speaking. And that is to become the expert. Now, you're probably hearing this and you're like, well, no, I already am the expert. But it means that you need to do more, study up, and make it so that you absolutely know everything that you need to, whether it's about your overall topic or whether it's just about the specific topic of the video. So even if I know a lot about the overall topic, what I'll do is for that specific speech, for that specific video, for that specific piece of content, I'll go and do a bunch of extra research on it, look at more data statistics or looking at specific tactics or different perspectives that I might not have seen before. And what that does for you is that it reassures you that you actually have a clear message by one, reinforcing that message and making it even stronger by giving you more information. But two, in your head, you know that you've done the research and that you know that this advice or this information that you're going to give is the most effective that it can be. And when you've truly done a thorough job and truly gone like, okay, this is the best information that I can give, I truly am the experts, then the quality of your message is practically guaranteed. Well, even then, it's not always so much about actually getting the information, getting more information. It's more only knowing in the back of your head that you're the authority figure. Because being the authority figure in the situation means that whatever advice that you give is going to be valuable to someone. And if you follow the advice from 4, it's going to be valuable to the specific person that you want to help. And that is so much more powerful than going into a situation thinking, oh man, how do I look? How do I sound? Is this going to make me look bad? Instead, you focus on giving. So if you want more in-depth help, tips, tactics, tricks to use to be able to speak more effectively and clearer in higher stakes situations like these, then check out the link in the description. I have a free community that will help you with that. Click here, watch this video, and outside of all of that, I hope that you have a great rest of your day. And remember, don't overthink it because you're probably a lot better at speaking than you think that you are. Have a good one.